Vulisani Ravele. How we are raised lays the foundation for who we become as adults. We are learning and unlearning as young people, trying to figure out who we are as we define ourselves, and our upbringing, unlearning certain things from it, is a big aspect of that. Today on For the Culture, we explore upbringing, and joining me for this conversation, she plays Rifilwe on Umbuso, which you can catch on Mzansi Magic. It is actress and TV personality Bahumi Mhlongo. Bahumi, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Actress, I love that we can officially add that title to your repertoire. You are doing amazing.
Doing something, are we?
I mean, talk to me about Rifilwe. She is a character who some of us watch the show and we're like, this girl. But she is going through a lot within herself. She is also going through a lot of learning and unlearning as she tries to struggle for her parents' attention and kind of seek it elsewhere.
Really?
Amen.
Hey, hamba kanjani? Yazi ngimangele manje ukuthi ingani kushisa namhlanje kanti ile ngubo eqokile.
Yeah, essentially I like to say that Rifilwe and I we're as similar as we are unsimilar. Is that a term?
It's different, maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
but that
one. But in the sense that, you know, we essentially, I guess, have a similar backstory. You know, she was raised with a family that is pretty much, already established and pretty big in their field. You know, it seems like she's kind of like the wallflower because it's her family, it's her parents, it's her brother, and they're all in the family business, and she just kind of wants to, you know, just go in her own lane and I guess, grow her own path. And she's not really receiving like that much attention from her family, and so because of that, she kind of like, you know, acts out, etc. So that's essentially like her backstory. But she acts out in ways that I probably wouldn't act out in.
Which is why it's called acting on Umbuso.
But I resonate with her deeply, and I think that's why I try my hardest not to judge her. You know, had I been a different person, I probably would have, you know, probably done the same things that she is doing as well.
Who would you say in your family and you growing up influenced you the most to be the woman that you are today?
Ooh, oh my goodness. I want to say the women in my family collectively. I mean, they were with me, I want to say like almost 24/7, except when I wasn't at school. And they instilled a lot of values in me. And I guess even career-wise, I mean, seeing the first few people that I could see acting in my family were my grandmother and my mother. I'd see my mother on television because I barely got to see her growing up, and my grandmother, I'd see her like rehearsing her lines. So she was very influential in my career a lot, and then obviously my values too. So yeah.
Being the phenomenal woman that you are today, you grew up in a home where you knew both your parents, but you were essentially in a single parent household. How did you make sense of all of that as a young Bahumi?
I didn't necessarily feel like I grew up, you know, in like a single household or single woman household because, you know, my father, you know, he really did try to be there. It did get tricky, you know, especially growing up because the more his career bloomed and blossomed, the less I got to see of him. But for the most part, growing up, it never felt like I was, you know, losing too much, you know. I also grew up with, when I started living with my mother, I had my stepfather who, I mean, even calling him stepfather is literally like, it's so weird. Like
it's almost like just a Western term that you put to it to put it in a category, but like, it's not the relation.
Literally. Yeah. Like there are times when like, even when I'm addressing him and I just say father, and people always just assume, you know, my biological one. And even, I don't even like, you know, try to correct it. It just is what
that's
it is.
My dad.
That's my dad.
And that's my dad too.
It's my pops. We had a lot of, you know, troubles and struggles that many people really know little about, but we're such a jovial family, and we were always so positive and optimistic. So for the most part, my upbringing was pretty swell.
It is often said that children do as their parents do, not as their parents say. Would you say that it was inevitable that you would eventually end up in front of the camera because of the home you grew up in? Even though we did see you robed, girl, graduating, getting your film directing honors there.
Oh, thank you. I like saying my parents, I'm joking. It could be. I mean, I was around it a lot. I mean, I'm very spiritual, so I mean, it's said in my family that it's actually even like just like a generational blessing that we have to be
a generational gift of a different kind. Yeah.
Literally. I want to say I've always known that I wanted to be in the industry, but it was more evident to me in like grade 2. You know, like I used to do like plays and my parents tried their hardest to get me out of like these extramurals because I was the person who just did everything at school. And yeah, ever since then, I just knew that it was something that I wanted to do, acting in particular. I never knew that I wanted to get into directing, I think, until I was 18.
Do you think that because of your upbringing, your victories today are downplayed?
Ooh, child, we going there.
We are going all the way there.
100%. 100%. I think it's something that I try to not let get to me, but there are times when it really does get to me, especially when I've like put in so much work. I really do put a lot of work in everything that I do, and I try my hardest actually to not even get any or take any so-called handouts, you know, so much so that I'd even, you know, reject connections that my parents would have given me, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to, because I really want to just, you know, focus on doing my own thing. I want it to be all me. I want it to be all me. Just so, but then I realized that also that's it's almost like I'm doing that purely to prove a point, and I think that's a toxicity on its own. You know, I really want to do things because I want to do things, and I know how hard I work, and that's all that matters, if I'm being honest. If I didn't apply myself, that's a lesson for me. If I did apply myself, that's something to be proud of, you know, for myself. But it doesn't always sit well, you know, when people think that I get things or everything that I have is just simply handed out to me. I guess because of the assumptions of how people thought I was raised, and or maybe the stigma that, you know, people think that I'm this archetype of like of a rich kid, celebrity spoiled brat kind of person.
Mouth, mommy's famous, daddy's famous. She had it all.
Exactly. I kind of as a child, it was almost as though I had to try to prove to people that I was humble. It was so weird. It's almost like I had to, and it became a lot more submissive, or even if there were things that I didn't agree to, or even though I had a voice, I just had to like just mute it, or I don't know, just pretend to be a false idea of what humility is.
Because speaking up for yourself would have been ende uspoilt. That's why she does it. You would be proving what everybody is saying and thinking of you.
Exactly. And it became very toxic for me. It really did. And I think that's why it kind of fed into my insecurities a lot, because it's almost like I settled into being insecure, and that was fine. You know, it was okay to be shy. Yet I'm not a shy person, if I'm being honest. I can be quiet, but I'm not a shy person. But I had to pretend like I was shy just so they can be like, oh yes, you're so shy.
She's so rich, but she's so sweet. Yeah. It's like she's humble for a rich girl.
Yeah, you know, and it's just like, what does that supposed to mean, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, you call me at a very good time, like if I'm being honest, in my life, where I really am just doing me. I will make mistakes along the way, but I'm excited for them because I'm excited to learn from them.
It's such an elevated way of living and space to be in. Yeah. And it will only be better for you. Trust me, it will only be better for you.
Thank you.
My goodness. I want to cry now, but we must continue interviewing. Do you wish to have children one day, to be a mom?
Yes, yes. I cringe in my mind like before I say that, because I'm like, oh, not now. Not now.
And it's not even to put a timeline to it, right? It's more to be like a prelude to this next question of what do you want to do differently in your upbringing that your parents or your family didn't do. And it's not about better, hey? Because that's the other thing. I don't want to be like, you know, well, they didn't do right by you. But what do you want to do differently?
Wow. I want to give them a space where they can just talk to me about anything, and try my hardest not to judge them, because I know I can judge. I know it's in me. It's in me. I know. I know for a fact. You know, but I just want to at least give them that space. And if I do end up, you know, maybe doing wrong by them in some type of way, just I pray that I have that humility and that self-awareness to be able to come to them and say, you, and for
them to be able to call you out as a parent. Should I just write the story of my woman song? I'm ready to write the book. I will write it myself. Get a ghostwriter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I hope I can receive that.
Yeah.
Because no, really, it's needed. It's
Yeah.
needed. We're all growing, and I think we all just have to realize, whether we're children, adults, parents, that we're all human. Period. We're just a human in this field, in this, So, we don't have to be perfect, but accountability is a big thing.
Bahumi Mhlongo, you are an intentional being and a beautiful light, and I hope you continue not only walking in your own light, but knowing that you are worthy of it all. You are worthy of it all.
I'm supposed to be composed, but I'm like,
Catch it, girl. Catch it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank
this
you.
conversation. Thank you for opening up your heart to us. And I hope that you watching also find the courage within yourself to go and do the learning and the unlearning, because you too are worthy of it. Don't forget to catch Bahumi as she stars as Refilwe on Umbuso every single Sunday night on Mzansi Magic at 8 p.m. and on DStv Catch Up.